Hey guys, here's my second video. Blah blah blah, test. Alright, here's my next mid-stakes no limit video. The action picks up, I got queens in the top left. I checked back the flop, he limped pre and I isolated. He led into me on the turn and I'm gonna pay off a bet on the river. Yeah, very small bet, we pay it off. And he's got the ace-jack. We got the ace-jack suited at the bottom right. We definitely could have, I don't know. I kind of like, I like peeling. I like 3-betting some, peeling some. Our opponent's pretty aggressive, but over a very, very small sample size. We could raise the ace-6 off. We opt to limp. We lead into the aggressive under the gun raiser who raises us, and we're forced to basically give it up. I mean, that's a situation that's kind of tricky. We're out of position. We're at his mercy. He gets to barrel with his semi-bluffs, and we basically have to blindly pay off, and I don't really ever like doing that. If I could take it back, I would probably take back the lead and just check call the flop. But c'est la vie, that's life. Not much action. At the bottom right, the one seat just keeps raising away. Ace king off, top right. Easy c-bet on that board. The ace king in the top right is kind of interesting. I feel as if a flaw in a lot of players' games is that they'll bet this board. They'll c-bet it, but then they don't follow through. And this is, we have an ace and a king blocker. So we block ace-jack and king-jack. He probably doesn't have two pair. He probably doesn't have a set on such a draw-heavy board. So our plan when we bet the flop on blank turn and blank river is to pretty much always triple barrel with ace king in that spot, just because he almost never has a hand that can call. And lots of people just give up, and I think that's a little bit like just sacrificing your money. If he's gonna fold the flop like 20% of the time, and he's gonna fold the turn like 30%, but then he's gonna fold the river like 90% of the time, you can obviously see the value in triple barreling. So I think it's very underutilized, and I think you have to be smart with it, but it's very powerful. We check the ace king, and now we get a pretty bad run out, and we're actually just going to check fold the river. You can go to my website at enhanceyouredge.com, and I'll actually be looking these hands up after the fact. That just to see what my opponents had, because on Bovada you can input the hand history 24 hours after it happens to prevent collusion to see everybody's cards. So my plan is to look up the interesting spots by hand number and then add them in notes on enhanceyouredge.com. And we can actually even look up that first hand where we triple barreled and made the 3-seat fold to see what kind of range they're working with. Obviously have some technical difficulties here. Hit the tile button, which doesn't work too well with creating videos. So there's random chaos on the screen. I'm trying to figure out which table goes where. I think, I'm kind of a silly person in that it matters, like the order of tables. And because I recognize where the weak players are on each table, and when they get mixed up, I get all flustered. So, yeah, I'm about to realize that the top right and top left are in the wrong spots. So we called a raise with the sixes, and we flopped a set. This is a board we're betting on, obviously, every time. Pretty sweet turn card. We get a weak lead on the turn, which we're actually going to raise a pretty small amount because we think he has a decent amount of pairs that are going to call in on the river. 3 easy payments as opposed to 1 balloon payment. And there we go. Ace sent off. We have to call on the button. I think I said this before, but I will call on the button with some stronger hands to have position and read the betting patterns basically of my opponent, because the power of position is you get to see what your opponent does first. It's an informational advantage, and when you're a good player, that when it's 2 good players facing each other, the person with the informational advantage is likely to come out on top. And so I think when we 3-bet a hand like Ace-10, we're folding out the hands that we have dominated and that we play well against, and they're calling, or we're giving them an opportunity to 4-bet and take the initiative away. Even with their weaker hands. That's actually a spot that I will 4-bet fairly often when I raise the cutoff and the button 3-bets me, just because I know they're likely to be 3-betting somewhat light, and it gets just a ton of folds. Flop 2 pair in top right. Just going to bet the hell out of it. Three bet on the bottom right with 4-5 suited. This isn't a hand that I really want to peel with, but when the 2-seat just flats, I get a little frisky. We go for it. You got to go for it sometimes. And see, that's why we go for it. We get a Jenga monster flop. I suppose you can opt for a flat, but because of the situation of us calling a 3-bet, when we flat, our range looks pretty weak, and we're going to be getting a fair amount of double barrels. And if we hit a flush, it looks, that's well within our range. So there's, he's got a lot of visibility. He can play really well against us. So we may as well just raise and get it in with the straight draw and flush draw. Or make him fold and just, not have to get it in. And I don't know if you noticed there, but there was I think there was 80 in the pot, and he actually bet about half pot, which from my experience is a relatively weak bet. I have no earthly idea what the 2-seat flatted a 3-bet with. I'm guessing ace-queen. Ace-queen or like king-queen suited. And maybe ace-jack suited. That's really all they can have. lot of dead time, but it's a pretty good hand. I actually considered flatting here, but a raise on the button can be kind of light, so I thought maybe we could get some light action. I don't mind flatting to induce calls from the blind, to induce 3-bets, inducing squeezes. It's not, you know, it's not the worst. Getting an out of position call when you got aces is pretty good. Not going to be very profitable for that player in the long run. Kings on the bottom left. I like my sizing with the aces. It's a little bit more than half pot, and like I said, that generally means kind of weak, and you know, I'm not sure if people realize it consciously or subconsciously or whatever, but if they do, then I'm going to capitalize on that when I'm at the top of my range. Deuce peels off on bottom left, which is not a good card. Tray 5-6. The 2-seat at the bottom left is playing 62% of their hands. He's pretty bad, and the 5-seat's playing 53% of his hands. Is pretty bad, so they could very well have 4s, and it appears as if 6-9 off takes it down. So, like a fool, I folded the kings on the 4-liner. Busted flush draw for the 5-seat there. Stab with the 7-8 off in the bottom left. Clearly worked. $9.93. I really could have continuation bet on this board. I don't like the fact that I didn't. That king is not very good in my opinion. Although the 2-seat really can't rep anything. I have no earthly idea what the 4-seat has. He's got king jack, king jackish, king queen. Pretty much all day. Okay, or nut flush draw. Can't say I love the peel with the nut flush draw. I don't know why he didn't just bet out. Betting out is fairly credible. And I don't know if you noticed, but like in the top left-hand corner, there's a burn right above the 3-seat where the HUD was. And if anybody knows why Holdem indicator does that, I'm very curious because it's kind of annoying while you're playing. We bet the 7-9 suited in the bottom right. We get a check call from the pre-flop raiser, which is not really good for us. And then another call. This turn is very interesting, and I really probably should have fired out about 72-ish, but instead I give up, and the flush comes, and we get a bajillion amount of action. We sheepishly fold. We got a check call on the bottom left with the ace-7. Turn check check, river check check, and we lose to the deuces. Queen 10 suited, bottom right. This is a definite peel. I have to be careful though at the bottom right. The one seat's 3-betting the hell out of everything. So it makes it tough. Tough to peel with hands like Queen 10 suited. This is a great flop for us. I love the flop. He did bet pretty big though. And I think there was 20 something and he bet 23, which is a sizable bet. And then he continues with another sizable bet on the turn. And I run over my options. Can I rep a 4? Can I rep a full house? It's kind of tough for me to rep either, so I just give up. And for all I know, I'm just drawing, either stone dead or very slim. Looks like I'm leaving the bottom right. I don't really know why. Now my search for new tables begins, which, is probably just going to take me forever. Don't worry, I'll find a new one. Bovada can be kind of annoying because it doesn't... Oh, cool, I just tried to join the one that I left. Smart. Bovada, the lobby doesn't refresh instantly. It takes a little time, so that can be very annoying. If somebody else is paying attention to the tables and you're not, then they're more than likely going to get the seat while you're busy, so it can take a little bit of time to load up that 4th table. Really, with the queen jack off, I should have raised on the bottom left versus this fishy 2 seat. You want to isolate and play hands in position against that guy. I hate to spoil this for everybody, but the 2 seat on the bottom left ends up just absolutely torturing us for hours and hours today. I recorded 2 45-minute videos. He lasts through both of them magically and actually leaves with, I think, like 1,100. Some of it from us and some of it from some different unfortunate souls. Another annoying thing about Holdem indicator is that there's no way to change what seat I'm in on the HUD so that it fixes everything automatically. I have to manually grab and move everything. Not much going on. If you're interested in checking out articles I write and stuff like that, just head over to enhanceYourEdge.com and check out my website. It's kind of plain right now. I'm working on it diligently. I'm trying to do my best. Poker's a solitary endeavor for the most part, and it's really good. It really feels good to give back to help other people who, maybe were where I was at years ago. They help them make a living for their family. I mean, as poker players, we take a lot. It's a tough profession. I'll just put it that way. Really could have bet the 7-7-8 board with the king queen, but I really don't think we're getting a lot of folds. Also, Bovada doesn't have an auto reloader, which can be quite frustrating. Good spot on the bottom left. We got a limper. We isolate to 20 with tens. Essentially, just a very, very profitable spot. Half pot bet in the bottom right after the check back on the flop by the pre-flop raiser. He's taken somewhat of a pot control line. Sometimes I think he might feel obligated to pay that off, but he just folds, and maybe I should have made a larger size bet. But half pot bet after we check back with the tens. Board pairs river. We're calling. If he has a king or a jack, then God bless him. He beats us. Check's a good sign. He has nothing. Ace queen suited. The nines, we peel again. It's the same spot as the ace 10. We also have a fish in the big blind and the 3-seat in the top right. And, it's... You always want to invite the fish in. But with a hand like nines, like, it's perfectly fine being in position versus a fish that's playing 50% of the hands. It's a very profitable scenario. C-bet, got called, checked, he bet, and we folded. He doesn't appear to be very aggressive, so we gave up. Didn't do anything with the nines on the king, queen, 6 board. Again, a lot of downtime. Let me know if you want me to ramble on during the downtime or just shut the hell up and let the poker speak for itself. I'm open to suggestions, whatever you want. We flop top pair. He leads into us. We're these short stacks that just buy in and call a pre-flop raise and then lead. I don't really have much respect for those leads. Like, it seems to me that the goal of the short stacks is just basically to get it in on the very first hand, and after that, it's like, I don't know. They always try to rep aces or kings, like, on their initial hand. My favorite is when they post, like, under the gun, then they check, and then the button makes it 20, and, they, of course, peel. I will never understand the logic. We fold the Jack-10 off. The 1 seed has raised exactly 7% of his hands, so he's a pretty huge nit. The 4 seed has played 6% of his hands, so he's a huge nit. We got nit on nit versus the whale. And everybody calls. I would think the 4 seed has like king queen. King queen suited maybe. God only knows what the 2 seed has. The 1 seed's repping ace king. We're set. In 3-way pots, hands get narrowed down, in my opinion, much faster. Simply because you're really handcuffed to the ranges you can play because of the multi-way action. Flop top set in the bottom right, we bet, and they fold. We river the nuts in the bottom left. All we had to do was, you know, call a bajillion dollars. The top left, I don't like the way I played this at all. Like, I should have bet the turn. I should have bet 28 on the turn and checked back on most rivers. But instead, I gave him a free card, and the spade popped off, and, you know, he made a small bet. There's really nothing that I can do. Now the 4 seed bets 125, which is a very small bet, but I guess it makes sense if he has king queen. Although I think peeling with king queen is pretty questionable. I'm going to save that hand and let you know what everybody had in the notes. Ace king suited. Unfortunately, our 2 seed folds. Set mining yields nothing. He actually made a small bet there, and I could justify a check raise. We're just repping so light versus under the gun range that it's dicey. Against the mega nit, we decide to peel with king 3 suited out of position. That's, you know, probably not going to be a winning play. If he bets, it's somewhat interesting. I can justify a check raise on this board. We got a king blocker, and lots of people check back their top pairs. So, which he checked back, and, you know, of course we win. Bottom right, ace jack, we limp, intending for a limp raise. A lot of the aggressive players will raise their very wide range in a blind versus blind scenario where the small blind limps, and I really love exploiting that by limp raising with a very wide range of hands. We got the 10s again versus a pot. We repot. because he's a fish, and you know he's only raising 6% of the hands, which is a very low number, but he is on the button. Yeah, this is the big blind. I did not see entering, playing 8% of his hands. I think he has ace king a lot. I think he has ace queen. Could have queens. We decide to just play like a little girl, and he makes a very small bet again, which just leads me to believe that he probably had king queen in that other hand, given that he does end up having ace king suited. The fish, of course, rivers the nuts. This will be a theme for this guy all day long. Checking back with the 8-9 on that board is kind of questionable, and folding to a $4 bet. I probably just could have played that better, but I'm not making excuses. I'll be honest, I didn't get much sleep last night, so my synapses are not firing on all cylinders. I very much suggest sleep as a poker player should be your #1 priority. It's you can't play on no sleep. Your brain doesn't work right. You're too impulsive. You lack discipline. You just have to get good sleep at night. I think that if you change nothing else about yourself, if you just sleep, like make sleep a priority, read some blogs on how to sleep optimally, make that a priority. That will help your win rate, your emotional state, everything. That is the first domino towards growing and being a successful poker player. And just in life. I mean, sleep is of vital importance. I can't overstate it. This may be a situation where I ran to the bathroom real quick, timing out on all of my tables, so it appears as if that's the case. Didn't make it in the top left. And we're timing out everywhere else. We're back. We don't see that we timed out at the top left, so we will annoyingly miss a round. Nothing much going on. I look like a nit at the top right table. I'm barely playing any hands. Sometimes over a very small sample size, this is just what happens. You just don't get anything to work with. And of course, the top right is my most profitable table. I guess, I think that's the table that I flopped a set of sixes on. And the good news about playing so nitty is you build up 3-betting vig, and you can 3-bet with a little more. Your 3-bets have a little more potency if people are paying attention, and it's no guarantee that other players are using Holdem indicator or they're paying any attention to what's going on. The 8s, interesting spot versus a 3-bet. Our range is ahead of the 3-betters range. We decide to peel. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think maybe 10s plus we should opt for a 4-bet, 8s or 9s. I'm perfectly fine with peeling. As it turns out, we had him dominated, and he flopped his ace and, got 0 action. So, seems like a very profitable situation to me. This is annoying, the top right hand. I check back here, and I'm a little annoyed with myself because he's playing so many hands. He almost always has just an ace there. He has some busted draws, which is the reason why I checked back, was because I thought I did have some showdown equity versus busted draws. And if a shove will fold an ace, then the shove is really good. If he just always calls with all the aces, and when he, magically, randomly has us beat with some hand, then the shove is bad. So there's no real way to know without just asking him. I will say that I prefer a shove there. Make him call all in with his bare aces. I mean, actually, if he calls all in with all of his bare aces, then that's fine. Our range has him crushed. What am I talking about? A shove is optimal. I lost my mind momentarily. A friend of mine has been telling me that I should Twitch as well, which isn't a nervous system problem. It's a gaming website where people can watch you play poker. I don't know how I feel about it, just for the fact that I don't like being distracted while I'm playing. I don't know how much fun it would be to watch somebody playing poker who's just listening to classical music and not very entertaining. There's the concern about getting sniped while you're twitching on a 5-minute delay, but Bovat is so annoying and hard to get into tables that it's not a huge concern. If you there's a real chance that I might load it up, figure out how it works, and give it a shot. I'm not sure why I left that table in the bottom right. I guess the game wasn't so great. Now we're in search of a new table, which generally takes us 5 minutes or so. There we go. Eight, nine suited versus this silly nit, like just probably raising 100% of my range, or I should be blind versus a 10 VP. Is you just gotta attack those guys. They're gonna you're in it for the long haul, getting their money. They bleed it off slowly. It appears as if my video is going to wrap up fairly shortly. I hope you enjoyed. Like I said, check out the website, enhanceyouredge.com. Sign up for poker coaching. We'll do one-to-one, and we will make some money. Sign up for the newsletter. Get exclusive articles that I won't be posting on the site. Let's build a community and elevate everybody's game. Iron sharpens iron. That's the best thing that I ever did when I was getting into poker. Was I had a friend that really questioned everything, and he turned out to be just a terrible human being. But for what it was, I mean, he was awesome. We challenged each other creatively, and we grew. We bounced things off each other, and without that, I would never be the player that I am today. Like I said, he's a terrible person now. We don't speak, but that's really beside the point. Nothing happening. 1 minute to go. The A7 off. We steal on the button. Check back when we flop top pair. We can bet, but I don't really see tons of value in betting, and we opt to just call. The river's good and bad, I guess. We have the nut flush draw blocker, so we at least are not going to run into the nuts. If the one seat bets, I am scared. If the two seat bets, then I'm scared as well. But since they both check, I decide to value bet. Which, if they really thought about it, they know that I can't have a flush. I would think that I would have a lot of busted diamond draws, but they didn't think about it. Alright, well, thanks for watching. I enjoyed it, and until next time, adios.